Have you ever wondered what treasures lie hidden in the forgotten corners of old buildings? Sometimes, the most extraordinary discoveries happen in the most unexpected places. This is the story of Emma, a 12-year-old orphan whose life changed forever in a single afternoon. St. Catherine's Orphanage stood at the edge of Millbrook, a building that had witnessed over a century of stories. Its Victorian architecture loomed against the gray sky, and within its walls, 23 children called it home. Emma had been there since she was 3, with no memories of her parents and no photographs to remember them by. She was a quiet girl with intelligent hazel eyes that observed everything, though she rarely spoke unless necessary. On a particularly dreary Saturday morning, Mrs. Hartwell, the stern but fair headmistress, assigned Emma an unusual task. "The north attic needs clearing," she announced, handing Emma a flashlight and a dust mask. "Take inventory of anything useful. Everything else goes to donation." Emma nodded, secretly thrilled. While other children groaned at chores, she loved exploring forgotten spaces where history whispered through every cobweb. The attic stairs creaked ominously as Emma climbed. The air grew thick and musty. When she pushed open the heavy wooden door, darkness greeted her. She switched on her flashlight, and the beam cut through shadows, revealing decades of abandoned belongings, trunks with rusted locks, furniture draped in white sheets like ghosts, and boxes stacked haphazardly against the slanted ceiling. Emma worked methodically, documenting items on her clipboard. An hour passed. Then 2. Just as she was about to take a break, her foot caught on a loose floorboard. She stumbled, and her flashlight rolled away, its beam pointing toward a corner she hadn't yet explored. There, barely visible behind a collapsed wardrobe, was a small leather trunk different from the others. Unlike the dusty, deteriorating items surrounding it, this trunk seemed almost protected. The leather, though aged, remained intact. Brass corners gleamed faintly despite the darkness. Curiosity sparked within Emma like a flame. She squeezed behind the wardrobe, scraping her arm but hardly noticing. The trunk wasn't locked. With trembling fingers, she lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in faded purple velvet, lay an object that would change everything, an ornate jewelry box carved from dark wood, inlaid with mother-of-pearl in intricate patterns. Emma lifted it carefully, and as she did, something rattled inside. Her heart pounded as she opened it. There, gleaming despite decades in darkness, lay a magnificent sapphire necklace, and beneath it, a yellowed letter addressed simply, "To whoever finds this." Emma's hands shook as she unfolded the brittle paper. The handwriting was elegant but hurried, as if written in desperation. She angled her flashlight and began to read. "My name is Victoria Ashford. If you're reading this, then I am likely gone, and my family believes this heirloom lost forever. The Ashford sapphire has been in my family for 6 generations, worth not just money, but history. I hid it here in 1962 when I became ill, fearing it would be stolen during the confusion after my death. I was a patient here when this building was Millbrook Sanatorium. Please, if you have a conscience, return it to my descendants. They deserve to have this piece of their heritage." Emma read the letter 3 times, each word burning into her memory. Victoria Ashford. The name sounded vaguely familiar. She carefully placed everything back in the box and climbed down from the attic, her mind racing. In the orphanage's small library, she spent the rest of the afternoon researching. What she discovered made her gasp audibly, earning a sharp look from Mrs. Hartwell, who was reading nearby. Victoria Ashford had been the grandmother of Marcus Ashford, one of the wealthiest men in the country. The Ashford family had built an empire in shipping and real estate. Marcus himself had been in the news recently, photographed at charity galas and business summits. But more importantly, Emma found an article from 10 years ago. It detailed how Marcus had spent millions trying to locate the Ashford sapphire, a family heirloom that vanished after his grandmother's death. The article quoted him, "It's not about the monetary value. That necklace was my grandmother's most treasured possession. Finding it would mean everything to our family." Emma closed the book slowly. She could sell the necklace. That thought had crossed her mind immediately. With that money, she could leave the orphanage, start a new life, maybe even go to college someday. She'd never have to worry about aging out of the system at 18 with nothing but a garbage bag of belongings. But Victoria's letter haunted her. Please, if you have a conscience. Did Emma have a conscience? She'd like to think so. Her situation was difficult, yes, but stealing from a dead woman who'd specifically asked for the heirloom to be returned? That felt wrong in a way Emma couldn't rationalize away. That night, sleep eluded her. Emma lay in her narrow bed, listening to her roommate Sarah's gentle snoring, staring at the ceiling where moonlight cast strange shadows. The jewelry box was hidden under her bed, and she was acutely aware of its presence. By morning, she'd made her decision. It wasn't easy, and part of her screamed that she was being foolish, but Emma had always believed that who you are is defined by what you do when no one is watching. She would return the necklace. Somehow, she would find Marcus Ashford and give him back his family's legacy. Finding Marcus Ashford proved easier said than done. Emma couldn't simply call the Ashford Corporation. She tried that, only to be dismissed by receptionists who thought she was a prank caller. A 12-year-old orphan with a lost family heirloom? Sure, sweetheart, one had said condescendingly before hanging up. Emma's frustration mounted. She needed help, but who could she trust? Mrs. Hartwell was kind but practical. She'd insist on involving authorities, and Emma worried the necklace might disappear into bureaucracy. Then Emma remembered Mr. Patterson, the elderly volunteer who came every Tuesday to teach chess. He'd been a journalist once, before retiring to Millbrook. If anyone knew how to navigate this situation, it would be him. The following Tuesday, Emma approached him nervously after their chess match. Mr. Patterson, I need advice about something important. Something big. His bushy eyebrows rose with interest. Is that so? Well, I'm all ears, Emma. She told him everything, pulling the jewelry box from her backpack to prove her story wasn't fantasy. Mr. Patterson's expression transformed from skepticism to astonishment as he examined the necklace. My God, he whispered. I remember when this went missing. It was news back then. Emma, do you understand what you have here? She nodded soberly. That's why I need to return it. But no one will listen to me. Mr. Patterson was quiet for a long moment, then smiled. Leave that to me. I may be retired, but I still have contacts. Give me a week. True to his word, Mr. Patterson made things happen. He contacted his former colleague at the Millbrook Gazette, who wrote a human interest piece. Local orphan discovers billionaire's lost heirloom, seeks to return it. The article included a photo of Emma holding the jewelry box, her expression serious and determined. Within 24 hours, the story went viral. News outlets across the country picked it up. Emma's phone, a cheap one the orphanage provided for emergencies, suddenly filled with notifications. Reporters wanted interviews. But more importantly, she received a message from Ashford Corporation's PR department. Mr. Ashford would like to meet with you. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. at his office downtown. Emma barely slept that night. She borrowed a decent dress from the donation bin, one that almost fit properly. Mrs. Hartwell, initially angry that Emma had kept such a secret, softened when she understood the girl's intentions. I'm proud of you, she said quietly, helping Emma brush her unruly hair. Not many people would do what you're doing. Sarah, her roommate, squeezed her hand. You're going to meet a billionaire? That's so cool. But Emma felt only nervousness. What if he didn't believe her? What if he thought she'd stolen it? The next afternoon, Mr. Patterson drove Emma to the gleaming Ashford Corporation headquarters. The building seemed to touch the clouds, all glass and steel. Inside, the lobby was marble and luxury. Emma felt desperately out of place in her ill-fitting dress. But the receptionist, briefed on their arrival, smiled warmly. Mr. Ashford is expecting you. Top floor. The elevator ride felt eternal. When the doors opened, a woman in an expensive suit greeted them. Emma? I'm Caroline, Mr. Ashford's assistant. He's waiting in his office. Thank you for coming. She led them down a hallway lined with family photographs and historical documents, and then opened massive wooden doors to reveal the most impressive office Emma had ever seen. Marcus Ashford stood by floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, but he turned immediately when Emma entered. He was younger than she'd expected, perhaps mid-40s, with graying temples and kind eyes that reminded her of someone, though she couldn't place who. "Emma," he said, his voice warm despite the formal setting. "Please sit down." "You too, Mr. Patterson." His office was furnished with leather chairs and antique furniture, yet felt oddly comfortable rather than intimidating. Emma sat carefully, clutching her backpack containing the jewelry box. Her throat felt dry. "Mr. Ashford, I found something that belongs to your family. In the orphanage attic. I thought you should have it back." She pulled out the box and placed it on his desk. For a moment, Marcus simply stared at it. His hand moved forward tentatively, as if afraid it might vanish. When he opened it and saw the sapphire necklace gleaming inside, his composure cracked. Tears filled his eyes. "My God," he whispered, lifting the necklace with shaking hands. "I never thought I'd see this again. My grandmother wore this every day. When she died, when it disappeared, it broke my grandfather's heart. He searched until the day he died." Marcus looked at Emma, really looked at her. "Do you understand what you've done? What you could have done instead?" Emma nodded. "I could have sold it. I thought about it. But your grandmother left a letter. She wanted her family to have it back. It wouldn't be right to keep it." Something shifted in Marcus's expression, respect mixed with curiosity. "How old are you, Emma?" 12, sir." "And you've been at St. Catherine's how long?" 9 years. "Since I was 3. Marcus was quiet, his business mind clearly working. "Mr. Patterson, would you mind giving us a moment alone?" The older man hesitated, then nodded, stepping outside. Once they were alone, Marcus leaned forward. "Emma, I want to reward your honesty. Name something, anything. Money for your education? A trust fund? Whatever you need." Emma's heart leaped. This was her chance, the opportunity she'd been denied her whole life. But as she looked at this powerful man who'd been reunited with his family's legacy, something else occurred to her. "Mr. Ashford, I don't want money for just me. St. Catherine's needs so much. New heating, books, better beds. There are 23 kids there, all wondering if anyone will ever choose them. If you want to thank me, help them. Help all of them." Marcus's eyes widened, then he smiled, a genuine, surprised smile. "You're quite remarkable, Emma. Most people would ask for personal gain." "I learned something from your grandmother's letter," Emma said quietly. "Sometimes the right thing is more important than the easy thing. And those kids are my family, even if not by blood." Marcus nodded slowly. "Very well. I'll establish a foundation for St. Catherine's, fully funded. New facility, programs, everything. But Emma," he paused. "I insist on setting up an education fund specifically for you. College, living expenses, whatever you need. You've given me back something priceless. Let me invest in your future." Emma felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you," she managed. But Marcus wasn't finished. "There's something else. When I look at you, I see you remind me of my grandmother. Her determination, her principles. Would you consider letting me be involved in your life? Not as a charity case, but as perhaps a mentor? Someone who checks in, who's there if you need guidance." Emma felt a lump in her throat. In 12 years, no one had ever offered such a thing. "I'd like that," she whispered. "I'd like that very much."